Hello ladies and gents, my name is Kamal Ellis Hyman and I'm the founder of Aim a Little Higher. What we get to do is we travel the UK, speak in schools, colleges, universities and sixth form with the goal of helping young people to base their aspirations on their potential, not their circumstances, because we can't really control the circumstances we're born into, but what we can do is base our aspirations on what we're capable of, and that's our mission. So today, it's an honour to bring you this workshop based on confidence, and I've been able to partner up with Take Your Place in order to do that. So today, what I'd love you to do is grab a pen and a piece of paper, take notes as we go through this workshop and take part in all the different activities we're going to focus on. Now, before we even start, before I even introduce myself fully, what I'd like you to do is grab a plain piece of paper and a pen. We're going to do an activity now as sort of a way to test where you're at, get a baseline, and then we're going to come back to the activity again later. So here's what I'd like you to do. I want you to get a plain piece of paper, split it into 4 sections. In the top left, write the word talent, top right, write the word skills, bottom left, write the word hobbies, and the bottom right, write the word bucket list. And here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to pause this video and I want you to spend 2 minutes in each section, and I just want you to write freely, write as many talents as you can think of that you have. Remember, a talent is something that comes naturally to you. Write down every skill you have, which is anything you've learned to do, anything you've learned to become good at or developed your skills in. Then I want you to write your hobbies, which is anything you enjoy. Sleeping is not a hobby. And in the bottom right corner, it's a bucket list. It's just anything you want to experience, let's say, within the next 10 years. Just anything. Could be academic, personal, professional, just anything you want to experience. And the reason I'm asking you to do this is because it's a nice baseline to see how comfortable you are with just speaking about yourself positively. So pause this video and complete that exercise, then we shall continue. Thank you so much for doing the exercise straight off. To introduce myself properly and fully, my name is Kamal Ellis Hyman, founder of Aim a Little Higher, and it's really nice to be delivering this session about confidence, because I think confidence is something that, it's a word that so much power has been given to, and I think it's really dangerous when we give single words so much power, and confidence is one of those where we're being tricked into thinking that it's super special, and I want to help you understand that it's accessible to everybody. Confidence has been something that's helped me on my journey, from moving from London to Peterborough and exploring that whole change, to being dropped from the football team and starting a dance group when it was more cool to play a sport, right the way through to school council, becoming youth MP for Peterborough. I was able to be an Olympic torchbearer. A few years back I won Peter Jones's National Entrepreneur of the Year. And it's just, all these experiences and achievements have only been possible by harnessing my confidence and realising that confidence is something we all have access to. And don't get me wrong, I'm confident when it comes to standing up and delivering or talking about business and motivation and confidence, but if I was about to do this video and I got another call and Take Your Place said, hey Kamal, changed our mind, we'd like you to talk about agriculture, my confidence would disappear so quickly. So confidence isn't like this, one size fits all. It changes depending on the situation. So that's a little bit about me and an understanding of why I think confidence is so important to get our head around. Yeah. So we're going to break this down into 3 different sections. We're going to talk about the confidence con. I think there's been a trick played. We want to explore the definition and the truth of confidence. And then I want to give you literally a couple of exercises that if you work on them today and do them repeatedly, you will grow in confidence and you will be able to attack UCAS applications, university interviews, employment interviews with confidence. So, with that being said, let's get started, starting with the confidence con. I know that sounds super weird, but I truly believe that this whole concept of confidence has been overused, it's been given too much power, and I feel like a lot of people have been conned, as in tricked, into believing that they're not confident. And the first part of that con to me is making us believe that confidence is for special people. And it's really easy to come to that conclusion. I get to work with all ages, right? And I go into a primary school and I'll say, hey, I need a volunteer. And it always amazes me that almost all the students are like, I want to speak, I want to volunteer, I want to have a turn. I get into secondary school and year 7s are still like, yeah, me. Year 8, there's a few less hands. Year 9, there's a lot less hands. Year 10, even less. Year 11, even less. And I get to you guys, year 12, and there are even less hands. Which to me means that we're slowly, as we get older, becoming more aware of people around us, a bit more bothered about how we're coming across, and it's easier to take the option to not be so confident. But there are always those people who will put their hand up, who will volunteer, who will answer the question. And it's amazing that when they do that, they're not always met with like a round of applause. Sometimes they're met with like of course it's them. Because people actually believe that this confidence is just reserved for special people. You look at your heroes on TV, on the football pitch, in business, in athletics, in whatever you're into, and you look at them and go, wow, they're so confident, lucky them, good for them. Rather than us going, why are they so confident? How did they become so confident? And starting to look at the science of it, starting to look at the practicality of how they became such a confident person in that field, so that we can adapt it for ourselves and become more confident in the field we choose. So please, let us be absolutely crystal clear. Confidence is not reserved for special people. I need you to understand that. I need you to own that and dismiss any thought, any belief that you held previously that told you confidence is reserved for special people, because it is not. It is accessible to every human being on the planet. And the second confidence con, which I believe is probably the most sinister, the most insidious, the most dangerous belief, is that confidence equals arrogance. Confidence equals arrogance. And it's a really scary idea that we have, and it's really prevalent within our society right now, where there's this idea that because somebody is confident, has the ability and the willingness to say, hey, do you know what? I am great at skateboarding. I'm awesome on my BMX. I'm really good at doing my makeup and doing people's hair. I'm a fantastic runner, or whatever their skill is. We sit there and watch that and go, oh my gosh, how dare they? They think that just because they're confident in that, they can just say it and gloat and make me feel bad about myself. And it creates this feeling that if we are confident, we're going to come across as arrogant, and that we might put other people down in the process of showing our confidence. Question for you. Do you feel more comfortable? Do you find it more natural to talk about yourself positively or negatively? If your answer to that question is negatively, then you are a human being, because most people I work with, and I've worked with over 40,000 students across the UK, most students I work with put their hand up and say, yes, I find it easier to talk about a problem I have, something bad about myself, a mistake I made, than I do to talk about my achievements. In fact, some of us have got this so ingrained that someone will give us a compliment and instantly we'll reflect the compliment away from somebody else. You know, it could be like, hey, I really like your hair. You're like, oh, I haven't had a cut in ages. I really like your shoes. Oh no, these are really old. You did a great job on that English exam. Oh no, I really don't think I did well. I was really nervous. And there's this instant automatic deflection of whatever positivity has come our way. Are you guilty of doing that? And if so, just ask yourself, why? Because when we really sit down and think about it, that's not a natural thing to do. When we're younger, when we're in primary school and younger, we don't deflect compliments like that. We accept them, say thank you. We say I know in some cases. So why is it that as we get older, we start to fear embracing these positive compliments that are coming our way. It's a con. And what it does is it separates the majority of people who feel this way from that small minority of people who have somehow managed to not fall into that trap and care about it. I don't want you to fall into the majority of people that aren't comfortable with saying how great they are, because you are great. And the problem is, when people don't say how great they are, then the job, the opportunity, the university place, whatever's on the line, goes to the person who will say it. So let's get rid of this idea that confidence equals arrogance. Confidence con number 3 is, insert your negative belief here. Literally, what I want you to do is grab a pen and paper, which I hope you have already, and I want you to write down something that you have either been taught, heard, believe about being confident, that is a barrier to you just embracing it. Is there a story you were told? Is there an experience you had? Is there something someone's once said that makes you think confidence isn't a good thing? Because if we can identify these limiting beliefs or these ridiculous stories that we've been told in the past, then we can dismantle them, understand why they're not true, get rid of them, and replace them with something more positive. So the confidence con number 3 comes from you. So it's really easy to assume that we all know what confidence is, right? And I think we do. But how many of us have actually ever looked up the dictionary definition? So let's jump to the dictionary definition real quick before we continue. Confidence, the quality of being certain of your abilities, or of having trust in people, plans, or the future. Let's break that definition down before we continue. The quality of being certain of your abilities. What that says to me is a confident person is someone who has a specific ability, feels certain that that ability is able to perform when needed, thus making them confident. So let's use an everyday example for you. When you wake up in the morning, you probably don't have a really nervous feeling about brushing your teeth. You probably know how to brush your teeth. In fact, I would even go as far as saying you are confident when it comes to brushing your teeth. Why? Because you are certain about your ability to brush your teeth. Or you have trust in the plan you have to brush your teeth. So what we're saying here is confidence doesn't even have to be this huge thing of jumping on the stage in front of 1,000 people. You show confidence when you wake up and brush your teeth. You don't second guess yourself. You don't worry that you're going to do it wrong. You just do it. That's confidence. How do you know you can brush your teeth? Because you've done it so many times before, I hope. And actually, let's really take a step back and analyse this. The second part said, or of having trust in people, plans, or the future. That means even if you're not amazing ability-wise at something, if you have enough trust that you have a plan in place to become good at the thing, or you have enough trust that you'll be able to figure it out in the future, then you're still a confident person. So in order to be confident, you need to work on the specific ability or have trust in some solid plans that will make it happen, or have trust and faith that the future will be brighter and better than it is today. When you look at the definition, you realise confidence is accessible to everybody. So I have a really, really simple approach to confidence. And sometimes people think, oh, that's way too simple. But I think there's danger when it comes to overcomplicating things. So let's keep it simple. Confidence is a choice. Yep, I can hear you, see you. I can literally feel the cringe going, oh, it's not a choice. If it was a choice, I would have chosen to be confident already. How dare you say confidence is a choice? I'm sticking with it. Confidence is a choice. I think in any given scenario, you have the choice to take the confident action or to take the action that proves you're not confident, but you have the choice. And it sort of comes down to try or retreat. The confident thing is to try, is to go for it, is to write down the answer that you think might be wrong, is to just say how good you are at skateboarding, is to sing in front of everybody and see what happens. Whereas retreating is leaving the scenario, is saying no to the opportunity, is doing the thing that takes less confidence. On your piece of paper, I want you to make your own version of this table, right? So on the left, I want you to write the word try, and on the right, I want you to write the word retreat. And here's what I'd like to do. On each side, can you give me just two examples of a time where you had the choice to take the confident option and try, or take the less confident option and retreat, but you decided to try. And then 2 examples of where you chose to retreat. Why? Because I want you to see that it's a choice we make in a moment, and that you have made the choice to be confident before, and you've also made the choice to not be confident before. And we can all do this. In fact, I'll give you an example for retreat. When I was younger, my family took us on a trip to Jamaica, where my family are originally from, and when we got there, we went to it's called the Rick's Cafe, and it's a restaurant on top of a cliff. It's gorgeous. But there's also the edge of the cliff where you can jump off of into the sea, and it's like a tourist attraction, and people go from all over the world to take part in this. And we went there, it was there, and they said, Kamal, you should jump. And I said, no. I retreated straight away without hesitation. That was an example of not being confident. And here's an example of choosing to try. When I was younger, I decided to join the school council, which meant you had to figure out what people in your class wanted to hear. You had to put a speech together that was engaging enough for them to decide to vote for you over everybody else who was going for it. And then actually go to all these meetings and stuff, and I decided to try. And in the end, I got it. So the win is in the trying, and then getting it was a bonus. And you don't have to make it complicated. It can be the most simple example. You could write about learning to ride your bike, learn to roller skate, trying a new food, not trying a new food, moving to a new school, moving to a different area, exploring a different friendship group. There are so many examples you've faced by this time in your life. Give me 2 where you tried, give me 2 where you retreated. Write it down now. Awesome, thank you very much. Now, you've got 2 examples of when you've tried, 2 examples of when you retreated. And if you haven't written it down, then pause, go back and write the 2 things down, okay? That's how this works. Get writing. So you might be thinking, how comes in those examples I tried and in those examples I retreated? What happened? What was the difference? Why in that moment did I make 2 completely different decisions? Here's why I think that happened. Confidence is like a muscle. Confidence is like a muscle. The more you use that muscle, the bigger it gets. The less you use it, the smaller it gets. It actually starts to go in the other direction. So if we're always faced with the choice to try or retreat, and our instinct is always to retreat, then naturally, every time a 50-50 comes up, naturally, we're going to try and retreat. If we're someone who always tries and keeps on trying, our natural response will be to try. So it's just like a muscle. And if most of the time currently you retreat, now's the perfect time to start training that muscle to try. To try. A new opportunity comes, try. A challenge comes, try. So that you get used to building that confidence muscle of going for the opportunity. So let's get real specific into this world of UCAS and university interviews, right? I need you to own your greatness. Own your greatness. Which sounds like a super cheesy saying, but I need you to own your greatness. What does that mean? I need you to be proud of yourself and be honest with yourself about all the things you've achieved so far. Owning your greatness says, do you know what? I am fantastic at some things. I'm also not great at some things, but I'm willing to talk about each confidently and openly. If you're someone who cares for people in your home, write it down. That's amazing. If you can cook, write it down. If you can just wake up at the same time every morning and get to school on time and you're great with punctuality, routine, organisation, write it down. In your friendship group, are you the person that people laugh with? Are you the person that organises everything? Are you the person people trust with their secrets? Just think of all these little aspects that you show every single day but don't consider great, and start owning them. Own it. That's your greatness. Think about it, own it, and share it. You've got to remember, UCAS, university interviews, job interviews, they're interviews, not investigations. Meaning, they give you a page to write, they give you a room to sit in, they give you a set period of time to sell yourself, to let them know why you are the person for the role or for the place. They haven't got time to investigate your life and sit down and pull out all these questions and go through your Facebook and your achievement folder. They haven't got time for that. They need you to just tell them straight. A lot of us, we have this mentality that it's going to be an investigation and they'll find it out. No, no, no. Make it easy for them. It's an interview. And remember, whilst they're interviewing you, you're also sussing out if they're good enough for you. It's not a one-way street. You're sussing out by the questions they're asking, by their response to your strengths. If this is somewhere where you're going to be appreciated, somewhere where you're going to flourish, and somewhere where you'll actually be happy. So please, don't walk into interviews or onto UCAS thinking, they're up here, I'm down here. I don't care where you're applying. You're there, they're there. This is an equal exchange. In fact, later on, if you do well, you're the one they're going to want on their alumni and their success stories. So seriously, go in there for an interview. It's not an investigation. Let them know how great you are. Own your greatness. Because like it says, unlike any past experiences in the school playground or at a family dinner where some cousin's bragging, they want to hear about you. They are interviewing you to find out about you. They don't want to talk about themselves. They don't want to hear about your successful cousin. They don't want to hear about the person in your class who was better at football. They want to hear about you. Tell them. So here's what we're going to do. At the very beginning of this video, I asked you to complete an exercise. And the reason I asked at the beginning is because I want you to see how you responded when you were just asked off the bat, and how you respond now that you understand what confidence actually is, and understand that actually it's okay to speak freely about how good you are. We want to hear it. So split your page into 4 sections. In the top left, write the word talents. Top right, I want the word skills. Bottom left, hobbies, and the bottom right, bucket list. I would like you to spend 2 minutes on each section. Write down as many talents as you can. Remember, talents are things that you are naturally good at. Just naturally good at them. Don't need to try that hard. You don't feel much friction when you're doing it. You're just naturally, you got it. Skills, anything you've learned to do, anything you've become good at. You might, I don't care how bad you were to begin with, something you are good at now. Hobbies, anything you enjoy doing just for fun. Sleeping is not a hobby, don't write it down. And then finally, bucket list. What's some of your goals, some of your aspirations? What's some things you want to achieve in the next 10 years just because you want to? They could be academic, they could be just for fun, they could be about experiences, they could be professional. Just what do you want to do? I want you to spend 2 minutes on each section, write as much as you can. Don't judge yourself while writing, just write freely. Go. Why am I making you do that activity? That activity is an activity that helped me get out of a job I did not like to start a business that I loved. It helped me when my first business failed and I got back up and started this business. And it helps people to get all their attributes down on paper so they can see it in front of their face. It will also help you track how much your confidence is growing, because you can do the activity today, tomorrow, in a week, and just count the number of answers you get for each section. So if right now you've only got 1 in each section, cool, let's try again in a week, see if you can get 3 in each section, and keep on going. And the genius of this is the more you do it, the more naturally you're going to speak about yourself positively because you've got so many examples, and the easier you're going to find it to fill out application forms, to fill out your UCAS statement, and also to answer interview questions. In fact, I would like to take this to a whole nother level because you're year 12 now, which means you're getting ready for the real world. So I'm going to give you the magic formula. The magic formula. And I use this as a professional speaker because we do Q&As where I might get a random question. I could turn up to a speech and a teacher could say, hey, by the way, they need to hear about resilience today, they need to hear about confidence. Something happened yesterday and we need you to speak about empathy. And I've got to be prepared to adjust on the spot. So here is the magic formula for your UCAS statement, for university interviews, for employment interviews. You need your attribute that you'd like to tell them about and a story that proves it. The attribute and the story that proves it. I promise you, if you can master this formula and have a few examples ready on your utility belt, you're going to be ready for any scenario that pops up. And because you know you're ready, you're going to feel way more confident when it comes to the real thing. So let's do a random example. If someone said to me, Kamal, tell me about a time where you failed, I would say, well, when I was younger, I tried out for the school rugby team. I was great at tag rugby, then I got into the real team, and I remember running with the ball. I saw 4 guys running at me, and I thought, no way. I dropped the ball and ran in the opposite direction, and never played rugby again. That's an example of a time where I failed. If they said, Kamal, give me a time where you stepped out of your comfort zone, I'd say easy. The day I met my wife, I went in to deliver a speech somewhere. It was at theatre. She was working at the bar on that occasion, and she looked over and smiled at me. I got nervous, did like a really awkward smile back, and then after the show came over and said, hi, how are you? Started a conversation, which was really uncomfortable for me because I was like, she's so out of my league. But again, there's a story, there's an example that proves it. All I need you to do is keep on doing that first list we worked on and then start matching it up with stories. That's all you need. On the screen, I've got a few examples of things you might be asked. Like, give us a time where you were brave, a time where you worked in a team, when you were resilient, what are you inspired by, a time where you showed leadership. But I'd like you to pick at least one, and I want you on your piece of paper to come up with a story that proves that attribute. Start with one. Once you've done that, do 2 more, so that by the end of this exercise you've got 3. And then come and revisit it anytime you want. And the beautiful thing is, once you've done this a few times, these will be your natural go-to answers. So, if we think back to the definition of confidence, we know this will help because 1, if you keep on practicing it, you're going to be certain in your ability. 2, you have a plan in place that you can trust in the future. Fantastic, well done. And I mean that genuinely. If you've only managed to do 1 in every box, fantastic. I literally salute you because this isn't a natural state for a lot of us. This is new. Being completely confident and open with our skills, our abilities, our traits is a new thing. But the more you do it, the more you'll get used to it, the more confident you will become. And the easier it will be to express how amazing you are in all of these opportunities. I don't know what your background is, what your story is, but I just want to remind you, you are literally a miracle. Scientifically speaking, you are a miracle. The odds of you being alive right now are so small, it's ridiculous. You cannot be described as anything but a miracle. Go forward in your life with that belief. Understand that fact, and if you don't believe me, go and look it up. Go and Google, what are the odds of me being alive right now? And understand what a miracle you even being born was. Thank you so much for taking part in this workshop. And if you need to revisit it at any time, please do. Let's get this up, let's grow this confidence and understand how amazing you are. This workshop has been brought to you in partnership with Aim a Little Higher and Take Your Place. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Peace.